You ever just look at your dog and think, what is actually going on in that fuzzy little head? Well, today, we're going to try and unlock one of their biggest secrets, their absolutely incredible and totally different sense of time. All right, let's just jump right in, shall we? I mean, it's the one question every single dog owner has asked themselves at some point. Does my dog really know it's 5 o'clock, or is something else going on here? Oh, you know the scene, right? You're working, and like clockwork, maybe a minute before you're even thinking about logging off, you feel that wet nose nudge your hand, or you hear that little hopeful whine from the door. It's just uncanny. It's like they've got a tiny little Rolex strapped to their paw. But as it turns out, what they have is way, way cooler than that. So, to crack this case, we gotta look inside. And our first big clue comes from this really fascinating field of science called chronobiology. Okay, so what is that? Well, it's a pretty simple but super powerful idea. Basically, our bodies, and yeah, our dogs' bodies too, they're not just reacting to what's happening around them. They're actually predicting it. They're running on these internal schedules, these really deep biological rhythms that kind of control everything. Now, don't worry too much about the tiny text here. The visual itself tells the story. Just imagine your dog's body is like a full-blown orchestra, but with clocks instead of instruments. You've got all these different clocks, all ticking at different speeds. Up at the top of this pyramid, you have the really fast rhythms, like brain waves zipping by in fractions of a second. But as you go down, the rhythms get slower and a lot more powerful. We're talking sleep cycles. And then, right at the bottom, you have the master rhythm of them all. The circadian rhythm, this is the big one. It's the master conductor of that entire orchestra we were just talking about. It's this internal body clock that runs on a roughly 24-hour cycle, and it's what tells your dog's body when it's time to be sleepy and when it's time to be alert. And the crazy thing is, it does this completely separate from whatever the clock on your wall says. And this wave right here, this shows you exactly how that rhythm plays out in what you see every single day. Just follow along. See that upswing? That's your high energy, good mood, feeling strong period. Think about your dog's morning zoomies. That's it right there. And then as the curve goes down, well, that's the dip into tiredness, the I just want to find a sunbeam and nap phase. It's their internal clock creating these totally predictable waves of energy all day, every day. But wait, that internal clock? That's only half the story. Our dogs have another tool for tracking time that is, honestly, even more amazing. And it's right there at the end of their nose. Yeah, this is where we get into their actual superpower, that unbelievable sense of smell. Okay, get ready for this because this is the part that just blows my mind. It's a concept from a researcher named Alexandra Horowitz, and she suggests that dogs can literally smell time. I know, it sounds crazy, but they don't just see or hear the world differently than we do. They smell it in a way that we can't even begin to comprehend. And that includes smelling time as it passes. So how on earth does a sense clock even work? Well, it's actually pretty brilliant. Think about it. When you leave in the morning, your personal smell is super strong and fresh in the house. But as the day goes on, that scent starts to fade, right? It dissipates at a pretty predictable rate. Your dog, with that super sniffer theirs, learns to connect how faint your smell is with when you usually come home. So a weaker scent means, hey, my human is coming back soon. They are literally smelling how long you've been away. Wild, right? So here's the bottom line, the big difference between us and them. For us humans, time is, well, it's abstract, right? It's numbers on a clock, it's external. But for a dog, time is something totally concrete. It's a physical, real experience. It's that feeling of hunger rumbling in their stomach thanks to their internal clock. And it's the way the smell of the house changes, which they read with their nose. And you know, understanding this really changes everything. It's not just some cool piece of science trivia. It actually gives us a way to make our dogs' lives better, just by respecting how they see and smell the world. Okay, so this is it. This is how we solve the mystery. That 5 o'clock watch at the door, it's not magic. It's like a perfect storm of their senses. First, their internal body clock, that circadian rhythm, pings them and says, hey, it's about that time. And then their incredible nose confirms it by detecting that your scent in the house has faded to just the right level. The expectation from their body meets the confirmation from their nose. Boom. So what can we do with this? What does it all mean for us as dog owners? Well, it means that routine is absolutely everything. When we stick to predictable schedules for feeding, for walks, even for when we leave and come back, we're basically helping our dogs set their clocks. We're giving them these reliable anchors in their day, and that gives them a huge sense of security and can really cut down on their anxiety.
Because in the end, it really all comes back to that special bond we have with them. Their whole world, their schedule, their very sense of time, it all revolves around us. They're not watching the hands on a clock. They're watching and they're listening and they're smelling for the single most important event in their day, you coming home.
And as always, we want to be transparent about where this info comes from. The insights we talked about today are all based on dedicated scientific research. So the main research that informed this came from a deep dive into canine chronobiology at the Free University of Berlin, as well as that foundational work on a dog's sense of smell by Alexander Horowitz. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other secret sensory worlds are our pets living in, right here beside us, that we don't even know about?